team. Cowboys. And who I'm rolling with, huh?
Welcome to another episode of Classic Dallas Cowboys Talk. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay. So, Cowboys versus Redskins has always been a heated rivalry, okay? The rivalry actually started back in 1960 when the Cowboys first came into the league, okay? George Marshall, the Redskins owner at that time, didn't want expansion, okay? And George Marshall didn't want Dallas coming into the league, so the NFL owners decided they were going to strong arm George into voting Dallas in to the NFL. Okay, the NFL went out and bought the rights to hell to the Redskins. Okay, and they said they weren't going to let him play hell to the Redskins. George Marshall play hell to the Redskins unless he voted Dallas in to the NFL, right? And so that's how they were able to strong arm George Marshall into letting Dallas into the NFL, okay? And that's how the rivalry started right there. And by the late 60s, from what I understand, reading about the rivalry, Dallas was winning virtually every game they played every year, okay? Then it heated up when not George Marshall, but Georgia Allen. Yeah. That's who I'm thinking of. Georgia Allen. Yeah, it really got good when Georgia Allen came. Okay, because George Allen was accusing Tom Landry of things. Tom Landry was accusing George Allen of things. There was a rivalry between Dyron Talbert and Roger Staubach. There was, I remember Dan Reeves saying whenever helicopters would fly over the Cowboys for practice during Washington week, they would stop what they were doing. The Cowboys would stop what they were doing and wait till the helicopters flew by. Yeah, so it really got good when George Allen got there. And of course he had the characters: George Allen, Joe Theismann, Dyron Talbert, Drew Pearson, Sonny Jurgensen, and as you may recall, it was Staubach's game-winning pass to Tony Hill, touchdown pass to Tony Hill, that won the division, that won the NFC East for the Cowboys over the Redskins, the final game of the 1979 season, okay? And there was a 20-point comeback that Dallas had opening game of the 1983 season after the Redskins beat us in the NFC Championship game the previous year, right? Joe Theismann, I remember, threw 5 interceptions in the opening game of 1985, which the Cowboys won 44-14, right? Okay. And then there was the game that we won in 1989, the only game we won in 1989, 13-3. I believe Steve Walsh, that game was like 10 for 30 for 130 yards passing or something like that. Yeah, but Dallas, Washington has always been great. Emmitt Smith had a 48-yard touchdown run in his rookie season to beat the Redskins on Thanksgiving Day, okay, in 1990. So 1991 comes around, okay? And the Washington Redskins are picked to win it all that year, okay? And the Redskins did not have a good preseason, okay? They went 1-3, okay? And Jack Kent Cooke, their owner at the time, had some words for Joe Gibbs, who was the head coach back then, okay? And Joe Gibbs said, "You have messed this thing up." And Joe Gibbs went like, "In what way is that? I tell you one thing, you kept too many guys on this team that are old, okay?" And then Jack Kent Cooke said something that really pissed him off. That really pissed off Joe Gibbs. Jack Kent Cooke said, "Now you take Jimmy Johnson down there. He's doing it the right way." Jack Kent Cooke praised Jimmy Johnson and the youth movement that was going on in Dallas, okay? And that really pissed off Joe Gibbs. Okay. Jack Kent Cooke, the Redskins owner, was praising Jimmy Johnson and the youth movement in Dallas, okay? That pissed off Joe Gibbs. So, week 2 comes around. Cowboys at Redskins. I mean, Redskins at Cowboys. Week 2 of the 1991 season. Yeah, Dallas got off to a really good start. Dallas got off to a really good start. Yeah.
By most to be the best in the NFC.
25, Aikman, handoff Smith, and left tackle pops out to the 30, and left from right, gets into the 40, breaking right to the 45. Holy cow, what a great play.
Touchdown, Emmitt Smith, 75 yards. Thank you very much. I don't believe the run.
Although it was a brilliant display of wide-open football and a showcase for the brilliance of Emmitt Smith, the Cowboys lost 33-31.
Yeah, so unfortunately, despite that 75-yard touchdown run by Emmitt Smith, we ended up losing the game 33-31. We led by 12 early in that game. But Washington came back. Yeah. Yeah. So, I think that was Joe Gibbs' way of showing Jack Kent Cooke, hey, we may be old, but we can still get it done, right? So, yeah. All right. Okay. So, Emmitt Smith was originally not the Cowboys' first choice. In the 1990 NFL draft, okay? We knew we needed a running back since we traded Herschel Walker the previous season, okay? We knew we needed a running back, okay? But scouts were saying he was too small, too slow, or whatnot. And Joe Brodsky, our running backs coach back then, shared that same sentiment. Joe Brodsky wanted a running back from Indiana, okay? And the guy from Indiana, his name was Anthony Thompson, okay? He wanted Anthony Thompson, okay, from Indiana. And but Jimmy Johnson looked at him and said, wait a second, Anthony Thompson, this guy never had a run over 40 yards, okay? His longest run in college was 40 yards, okay? As opposed to Emmitt Smith, he had runs of 96 and 72 yards, okay? So, Joe Brodsky thought that Emmitt Smith was too small, too slow, okay? But some trades were made in the 1990 draft that it was perfect that Emmitt Smith fell right to us. Because originally we wanted to take a linebacker from Baylor named James Francis. Okay, that's who we originally wanted. But the Cincinnati Bengals took him earlier And Emmitt Smith and we made a couple of trades to get to, I think it was in the high teens or the low 20s, okay, that we were able to get Emmitt Smith, okay. And the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals, ironically enough, the Arizona Cardinals ended up taking Anthony Thompson, okay. So, just a little bit of a revisionist. So, just looking back at that situation, we all knew the career Emmitt Smith had, okay. But Anthony Thompson got drafted by the Cardinals. He actually held out during the first part of the season for the Arizona Cardinals, okay. He actually held out a little bit. And so, the Cardinals drafted another guy. I believe they took him in the 7th round. I may be wrong. They drafted a guy by the name of Johnny Johnson. Okay? The Cardinals took a guy by the name of Johnny Johnson. Okay? Anthony Thompson holds out. Johnny Johnson becomes the starter, runs for 939 yards, is in the Pro Bowl. Emmitt Smith is also named to the Pro Bowl that year. Okay? I believe he was named as a Pro Bowl alternate. Okay? But, yeah, Emmitt Smith was named to the Pro Bowl that year. And Anthony Thompson never has the career he is supposed to have. Okay? And, yeah. The irony in that. Okay? All right. That's it. And that's all for Classic Cowboys Talk. I am Sean Farrell. I am out of here. How about out them Cowboys?
Who?
Cowboys.
What's my blue and gray team?
Cowboys.
And who I'm rolling with, huh?
My Cowboys.
Steelers better get it right. Giants better get it right. Who?
Cowboys.
What's my blue and gray team?
Cowboys.
And who I'm rolling with, huh?
My Cowboys.
Eagles better get it right. Skins better get it right.